I'm delighted to welcome today Georgia Vargas, who is a book writing coach. Welcome, Georgia.
Great to be here. I've been looking forward to this.
Marvellous. Now then, we have so many book writing coaches out there now. In the 80s, I remember it was coaches. Every street corner there was a coach. Now there seems to be every street corner a book writing coach or something to do with book collaborations or whatever. So why are you different to Mrs. Average book writing coach? Why should I come to you rather than Mrs. Smith up the road?
My goodness me, how much time have we got? Well, I think first of all, it's my background, which gives me my edge. And I've been writing ever since I could hold one of these. Great privilege that we have to learn to write. And for me, it was started with dialogue. I started writing dialogue. I went on to write poetry and plays and scripts and short stories and articles, 250 blogs on my website, hundreds of pamphlets that I wrote and contributed to. And of course, my two non-fiction books, a book of poetry and short stories. So I have a very eclectic mix of writing experience, which many book writing coaches don't have. Some of them don't even have a book. And so this allows me to come in from a very specialized, almost creative, perhaps artistic angle that I can offer my clients. And also, I've been in showbiz all my life, so I know what it is to step up, stand out, get heard, be understood, and be visible. And too many writers think, oh, here's my book, I'm just going to read a chapter from it. And it's no longer like that. So, in all my programs, first of all, I can show people where to find a really recommendable, highly professional publisher, which will give you full access to the account, and they won't take any profit from it, which is very much worthwhile today because too many of the independent companies will continue taking money from you even after your book is selling. So that's a great advantage. And you don't have to run around looking for a publisher. I'll recommend really qualified people to you, introduce you to them, and you don't have to run around spending months looking for somebody that you like and trust. And the other area, of course, as I mentioned, is the visibility. So I help you promote the book from quite early on. So that package is unusual. So it's the writing, the structuring, getting the work done, finishing the manuscript, finding an excellent publisher, and learning how to promote it, all the while you're working with me.
And what about graphics, pictures, that type of thing? Can you guide on that as well?
Yeah, I mean, I can outsource to illustrators, and very often the publishers that I know have graphic designers, illustrators in their books. So if people need that kind of thing, everybody's outsourcing today. We have a team, don't we? We call it collaboration, but we know it's team. We've been doing this for donkey's years. Isn't that what you say in English?
Yeah.
What donkeys have got to do with years, but
yes, yeah.
it's about working together. I'm really good at this, but I'm not an expert on that, but I can recommend somebody who is. Let's all work together on it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I'm intrigued. You said publishers who don't charge. How does that work then?
Well, they charge you for the package to publish the work. They'll give you, a professional editor, proofreader. They'll offer you different graphic designs for the book, but you make all the decisions. So you can say, oh, I like that one, but not that one. Oh, that color is aligned with my business, so give me that. I want a font that's more this and this and this and fits in with my website. And they don't interfere. And so all the work that they do at the end of it, I mean, you pay for the service just like you would with an independent publisher. And then at the end of it, they say, right, it's all yours. I'm not taking any profit from your sales. We finished our deal. You've paid me. You're happy. That's it. Cheerio. Next one. We've given them, sorry to interrupt you, but we've given them the name of ethical self-publishers.
Okay.
It's nice. It's nice. It fits in with today's, energy, if you like.
You're not going woke on me, are you, Georgia?
No, definitely not. So I'm the woo-woo girl. But because I've worked with these people now for several years, I know the work that they produce. I mean, I've got a couple of books behind me. I see the quality of the work. I hear it back from the clients, how happy they are, what they think of the people. So during the writing process, I'm able to say, listen, I got the right person for you. Or with your background, I think this one is better.
Mm,
Let me introduce you and see how you get on. Then you
brilliant.
don't have to run around the Googles and the shops and everywhere looking for somebody that you know is going to give you the service and the quality you want, because not all of them give you the quality. And because so many people are publishing books now, quality is going to be really important in every area, from the cover design, from the text, from the title of the book and the strap line, the blurb on the back, the photo you use. The quality, the professional quality is going to be really the deciding point. Or which book should I have? Oh, this looks like tip top. This looks like nice paper, not, whatever it is that you're looking for.
Yes. What makes a good story? What makes a good book?
Well, I think whether it's fiction or non-fiction, which are interesting now because they're so intertwined, really. Fiction, you don't have to prove the truth. You just say it's my imagination, my experience. And so you find a lot of writers, especially from Turkey or the Middle East or India, say they tell their story and they put it in a way that it's their experience, but they might be telling you something really poignant about what's happening in their country, or what's happening to women particularly, or what it's like to be a child growing up in the outbushes of so-and-so mountains in so-and-so country. That's the truth. And it can't be censored because it's that person, the author's experience. And with nonfiction, you have to prove it. What's the source? What's the data? Who said this? Who said that? Well, you have to have a bibliography, a few pages of it. But when you add story to it, or case studies, or third person, we call it theatrical license in showbiz, cinematic license, where you change around a few of the details, the dates, the places, and the names, and so on, then you just say, well, that's my experience. When I did my short story collection, Divine Damages, they were based on stories that I'd heard from women from all over the world. And I just packaged them. And people said to me, you didn't go through that, did you? That's terrible. And I said, it's up to you. It's out there now. You decide. What do you think?
Yeah.
So there are so many ways. And, the stories that resonate, that last, and that sell are stories that touch the heart. It's human connection. Human connection is our medicine, even more today than ever. So stories that really, I was down and I did this and it didn't work. I tried that. This happened, that happened. And then, and you want to turn the page. How did you do it? I want to learn. I was there too. So you've got to balance. With nonfiction, you have to balance the stories and the facts. Fascinating facts, intriguing stories. Intriguing facts, fascinating stories. That's what hooks the reader. If you're just laying it out, when you do this and then it's a manual. It's an instruction manual. But if you insert in, well, I went through this and what I did was, and I was only, and I did it, and that personal element, that's what resonates with people.
People buy people, don't they, at the end of the day, as the old adage goes. What about the audio books now? We're seeing a lot more. I listen to 2 or 3 audio books a week, and sometimes I'm re-listening. I can't read that quick, and while I'm pottering about, whatever I'm doing, I'm listening to the stories, the educational content, whatever the thing is. So do you think we're kind of losing something now that we're not kind of holding books?
It's half and half, really. I mean, to do an audiobook yourself is hard work, and very few authors have the voice, the patience, the skill to do it. The number of times you go, oops, or
Yeah.
all the things that we do in our colloquial world and our spoken world. It's a skill. It really is a skill, and it's hard work to do it, and it can be expensive to do it in a really good studio, because I mean, here, this room is very echoey. I couldn't do it here. You have to have good quality sound. Once again, it's quality. You've got to do professional, and it's expensive, because how long are you going to hire the studio for? How long does it take to read a book? How many hours? How many studio hours? Then there's the editing. So that's why people often pay for somebody to do it, and that's when prices start to rise. But you know, we have choice today. That's the wonderful thing. I mean, I personally don't listen to things that have to stuff in my ear. I like, if I'm outside, I want to listen to the birds and the bees, or if I'm in a cafe, I want to listen to the conversations. Oh, that's a good line.
Mm.
You know, or see a gesture, see how somebody eats something. Oh, look at them, how they put their feet. I put that in my book. You know, so I don't want anything going on in my head while I'm outside enjoying. That's me personally. But I remember back in 2012, they said, oh, books are going to go, the digital thing's taking over, nobody will ever touch a book again. There are more books being published than ever before, and everybody wants one.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, it's a good way to get a message over, for other people to make their minds up. Is it true? Is it not? You know, is it intrigue, fiction? You know, whatever it is, personal experience, and that goes with the imagination, isn't it? So every reader will interpret a story in a different way, won't they?
I think with the audio, I think what's interesting, you know, perhaps on the line of lacking not so much support for it, is that you get a professional person to read it. The way they pause, the commas that they'll breathe in will be different to the way you will.
Mm.
The emphasis, the tone, even the dialogue, you know, how they'll read the dialogue, what accent they'll read it in, and all these different variations, the volume, the dynamics, all these kind of things that can interpret the book in a different way. I mean, the way you might read a sentence, the way I read it is going to be different. I mean, there are some people that have written fiction books with no punctuation. It's
Really?
wild. Yeah, I've got one on in my other show. It's wild to read because you're, who said that? Did she say that? Which room is she in now? I thought it was raining. Oh no, it's not. So there is that thing going on, and it makes you work hard.
No, that's not for me. I like to I like to enjoy reading, you know, when I do read, but I don't put headphones in or anything like that. I listen on my phone on speaker. That's how I do it, and it's by the side of me in the car, in the garden, you know, whatever I'm doing, washing up, you know.
Yes,
So I'm listening all the
it's
time.
company. It's good company.
Yes,
That's what
yes,
it is, really.
yeah.
And you know, it has its place. Absolutely.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We both said absolutely together there. Okay. So you said that you were writing from an early age, and you've mentioned some the variety of different types of books. What was it, do you think, that really got you into writing and being able to coach people? I know you've mentioned the theatre. Was it just a combination of things, or was it some kind of inspirational thing that happened, an aha moment? What kind of really got you into it?
Oh well, I was in London in 2019 for the book launch of this third book of mine. That's the bit I like.
I can't,
Manifesto for Rebels.
I can't. Can you read it out for anybody
Yeah,
listening on
it's
audio?
the Rule Breaker's Guide to Step Up and Stand Out. A manifesto for rebels.
Okay, rebels. Oh yes, we're definitely rebels.
And I had a really successful book launch, fantastic book launch in London at the Institute of Directors. Fabulous it was. And lots of PR afterwards and beforehand, and things were really swimming for me. And I was getting some speaking gigs out of it too. And I thought, oh, I went on holiday and I said, something missing. I didn't really write about the how to do all these wonderful things, because my main themes in the book were the three big C's: confidence, courage, and creativity, how to get them. And what often holds us back are the three little C's: cooking, cleaning, and caring. Why don't we shove them over to other people, and why don't other people learn how to do it so that we can get on with the big C? And I thought, well, how do you do these things? So I got very distracted and ended up writing a little pocket book called Rule It: how to do it, how to step up and stand out on video, stage, and page, because I've had experiences on all those things. Fantastic. I was ready. The book launch was going to be in London again. I had PR, I had everything set up, tickets sold. Guess what was the date? 16th of March 2020. And then they locked me up along with millions of others.
Yes.
So
Yes,
I was thinking,
indeed.
what am I going to do? going to do? And I had to pivot and change and think. And then it just hit me. And I realized that with all this experience, decades of experience, I had to show people how to do it. I had to show people how to do it. Because, you know, Elaine, when I was on the spoken word poetry scene, spoken word performance poetry scene, I was doing very, very provocative poetry, and it didn't always go down well. And when I was in America, you know, Americans can sometimes be a little bit prudish about things, and I was like, in your face. And I got in the slam competitions where they score, you have a 3-minute slot and then they score you. It's 8.9, 9.2. I was getting 5s and 4s and things. I was like, what am I doing wrong? You know. And then what I noticed was that the poets or the performance artists who were getting the best audiences, who were getting the paid gigs, they all had pamphlets. They all had books. They all had books, printed proof of who they were. I thought, I want to do this. So one of my first pamphlets, I've still got it up there, was that one. And so I would do my poetry and my performances and spoken word, whatever you want to call it nowadays. And those poor scores would come up, and I said, but never mind, I've got a book. And they would all come around the back of the stage and buy the book. $2 a pop or whatever it was, I can't remember now. And it made me realize that the printed proof was key. Printed proof. You know, Elaine, I've written 4 books. I've contributed to tons of anthologies and articles, etc. But as soon as you say you're a 4 times published author, you may never read any of them. You may never pick any of them up. You go, that's something.
Yeah, it definitely does add to the street cred, doesn't it? And particularly people who wanted to go out as a speaker. And so many people now are transferring their books into courses. And I think that's a really good way to demonstrate whatever it is, you know, that you're promoting to people. You mentioned your programs. Tell us about your programs.
So every month I run a masterclass, free writing masterclass, where people can come in and question me, find out, learn what it is, what stage they are at. Because a lot of people don't know about publishing, and a lot of people don't know about how to structure a book. Where do I start? I've got this idea. Do you think it's worthwhile? Will anybody read it? What do you think? And they come to get support. They come to have their confidence increased, improved, to learn about the business, the industry secrets, if you like, and to meet other budding authors. So there's always a mixture of published authors, almost ready authors, people who are thinking about doing it at some stage, and people who are ready. And the questions and the conversations that come from it are just brilliant. So I do that with great pleasure and great enjoyment, and I keep it free. And I recently started again a creative writing group to bring in people who, well, several areas where people perhaps who haven't written for ages and ages, or they did a degree in it and in some form of writing, short stories or poetry or plays even, and they think, oh, I haven't done anything like that. And for business people who've lost their vocabulary because it's all jargon and memes and buzzwords and fear of words. Nowadays, there's huge fear of words. Oh, can't say that and better not say that. I could put an X in the middle and then I could say it and all this craziness. And my personal opinion about ChatGTP and AI is watch out, because it's noticeable. So it's about getting back to your roots of how you express yourself, finding your voice, developing that creative spirit that you have, finding glossy, gorgeous glossaries and tasty terminology and new phrases to old phrases, and getting rid of the same old buzzwords, finding what it is that's unique about you, that you can use to sell, to attract clients, to write a book, to do your audio, you know, to uplift you with your creative spirit, because we all have fantastic ability to be creative, except it's been banged down, pushed out, and since a very early age too. And also, sorry, for me, this is really important. Writing leads to thinking, and thinking leads to writing. And oh boy, do we need that now more than ever. Get rid of those shortcuts. Stop using your technology, AI, machines, robots to write. Start thinking. That's what you have a head for, just to think. Use it. Think outside the box. Start finding your own way of expressing it, because so many people out there doing what you do. What makes you stand out?
Mm.
Your words.
Absolutely, and how you craft yourself within the words, because the AI stuff I think is great. I use it. I've started using it quite a lot lately, but I use it more for research. So I'll ask a question and it will come up and that will give me ideas, and then off I go. And sometimes I use a bit of what they say, but I would never totally have an AI article, because as you say, you can see it and you can tell it's not your words, you know. So so you do your monthly masterclass,
Yes,
you
the
do
creative
a
writing
writing group.
yeah, and then the one-to-one program, which is a 12-week program. Well, is an onboarding session, so it's 13 sessions. So if a person is ready to write, then we'll start to look at the heart and core of the book. What's the essence? What's the story? What's the theme? What's the main ingredient? What makes your book? And sometimes that goes a little bit backwards and forwards, and there's a little bit of sway. I thought it was going to be this, and it isn't, and it's something else. And so it's sorting all that out. And then we start with the one-to-one sessions, which are always recorded, of course, because very often when you speak, that's when your jewels come out of your mouth. It's like, that's the way to say it, like that. And as I mentioned before, offering you different publishers, and ways to promote the book before you even finish it. So that's an intense program. It's a commitment, investment of time, energy, and finances, of course.
Mm.
You know, to write the book, you can do it in 12 weeks, but people have their own pace, and you have to take that into account. So anything from 3 months to write it to 6 months, a year, and then 3-4 months to actually publish it.
And then the promotion, because
Yeah,
that's a
well,
big thing that we all struggle with our businesses. In my experience, it's all very well having wonderful services, but if you're not getting your message out there, it's very difficult.
yeah, exactly. So, you know, once you become confident, because what happens is this extraordinary, it's not my favorite word, but I'll use it, is transformation. As you start to write, you become more confident about what you want to say. You know more about it. You remember things. You realize that you are the expert and the authority in this area, that you've got amazing stories to contribute. So your confidence grows, your courage grows, your creativity grows, and that causes a sort of personal change in you. It's extraordinary to see it happen. It's the most rewarding part of my work, because yes, the professional transformation happens, of course, but to see a person not confident at the beginning, well, yes, I've done this and this and this, and I go, that's brilliant, and they go, is it really? Etc., etc. So the you know, the personal and professional transformation are sometimes one of the hardest things to explain, that's what's going to happen, whether you like it or not, to the budding author. It's the beauty of my work. It's the bit I love, you know, to see that. And with promotion, you know, what I do, for example, Elaine, is that, so we've got your title, well, not even that, but we know the topics. So the next network group that you go to, or the next people that you mix with, you say, that's funny you're talking about that. I'm writing about that in my upcoming book, which should be out in November 2024. Isn't that amazing? I've just finished writing that chapter in my book, which is called so and so, so and so. So it starts with that. And as you go through the book, your confidence, well, you want to tell everybody, I'm telling you.
Brilliant. And what do you think about these ebooks now and on Amazon? Because not every book now is kind of in your hand. We've mentioned audio, but there's an awful lot of ebooks. I wrote a book. Well, I'm multi-published and Amazon bestseller and all sorts of things in anthologies, but I did write a book way back in 2000. I think I published it 2013. But I only did it as an ebook. I didn't bother. I was only half interested in it, to be frank, because by the time I'd finished it, it was about a particular type of breast cancer surgery that I had in 2009. And there was nothing on the internet there, no guidance, nothing. And I kept a journal and I basically translated it into a book. But in the meantime, my granddaughter died. and that distracted me somewhat. And then I picked it back up again a few years later, and I hurriedly finished it. So it's not my proudest work, but it's still out there on Amazon. So some people have found it very useful because it was a specific thing. What's your view on the digital books as opposed to the real book in your hand?
Well, you know, first of all, ebooks are very good for shorter stories, shorter books, you know, the 20,000, 25,000 kind of books. You know, very often it's the course that goes with the business. So it has its use. And if people like learning online or like learning from that digital format, it has its benefits. You know, you can't knock it. It does. There's a friend of mine, she says, I want a book in my hand, except when I'm in the airport. Then I have my Kindle. So, you know, it means that you have choice. And if you are traveling on a train or something, you don't want to carry loads of books, you've got your Kindle. So it does have advantages to have the ebook format. And particularly for, as I said, for instructions, for courses, for business books, less so for the story element, you know, because people want to get tucked into a book, feel the page, and go back and read it or make notes. And you can't do that. In fact, you can lose yourself. Where was that page where I saw that brilliant line? I don't know. So, you know, it's a choice, options, whatever suits you best. But, you know, you could do like a second edition of that book and plump it up to make a print version of it, if that's what you thought. Or you may write a book and include the content of that that's relevant to today. So there's lots of things that you can do. It's not wasted, so to speak.
Yeah, I might do that. I haven't decided. There's so many things that I could write on, as you know, so I haven't decided yet, but I'm sure we will be talking at some stage this year when I get things organized. So how do people get hold of you, Georgia?
Well, I've just had my website redecorated, a new bit of paint on it and sharpened up the corners by a great friend of mine. And so that there's lots of information there about the courses that I do and the programs that I do. I'm on LinkedIn all the time. That's my baby. I focus there. And I'm also a member, like yourself, of Love Entrepreneurs and Silver Tree, which has been brilliant for meeting some fantastic people like yourself, for example, and learning from each other and supporting each other. And so that's really my main thing. I used to have interest in the other platforms, but yeah, one is enough for me.
Yeah, we can't be everywhere, can we? And what is your website called?
It's my name, georgiavargas.com.
So if you could spell that for anybody listening on.
Yeah, of course. And it's very important to get the spelling right. So it's Georgia for Georgia, and then straight away VARJAS.
Georgia Vargas. GeorgiaVargas.com. Thank you so much for your time today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Thank you, Elaine. I've really enjoyed sharing all the goodies with you.